Ba, 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 ba. So 69 XP. Yeah.
There you go. It's only 69. Yeah,
Only 69.
69.
But I picked up 300 gold pieces.
You did. Gil, I think you'll find.
Oh, Gil, yes. Oh, wow.
I think you'll find it's Gil.
It's been so long since I played Final Fantasy.
Yeah. There you go. For those of you that don't understand why Anthony's clapping away, other than because of our insatiable love for the Final Fantasy series, it's so that...
We definitely can't include this.
Of course we can. Why not?
Because I look like an idiot.
It's not any different.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed. It's so that producer Caroline, now, who has the wonderful job of trying to keep us all on track and put this all together with the video and the audio, knows where we are. So Anthony was just being helpful, weren't you, Anthony?
It's a rare sight. And captured on film, no less.
Yeah. So episode 13.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Which means means that today's episode is going to be incredibly unlucky.
Yeah. So we're 13 Final Fantasies in.
This is where the light bulbs need to flicker.
Yeah, that's right.
Just go like,
yeah. So we're 13 Final Fantasies in.
Special effects here at East.
No, it's nothing but the best.
Yeah.
What did you think about Final Fantasy 13? You played Final Fantasy 13, didn't you?
I did. I think it's one of those games where there was a terrible build-up. I remember because I think I was about 15 or something when that game first started being publicised, and it was in development hell for a long time, along with Versus 13, which ended up being Final Fantasy 15.
Which one of the best Final Fantasy games of all time.
Oh, absolutely, it's amazing. And being me, I'm terrible when it comes to RPGs. JRPGs. I'll play them for like a couple of hours, and I'll love it. And then for some reason, I'll just stop playing it, and then won't touch it for months, and then I'll start playing it again and play it.
So my thing with Final Fantasies is I get all the way to the final boss, and then just don't do the final boss.
I did that with Final Fantasy 10.
Like that, and then I go back ages later, and I'm like, oh, that's right. And then like do the final boss, and then I'm like, okay, cool, finish the game now.
Yes, I did the same.
It's real weird.
Yeah, I did the same with Chrono Trigger in Final Fantasy 7 and 10. 13, it annoyed me because they were like, it's multiplayer now, it's on Xbox. And then they spent an extra few years developing it. 13 is actually good. It's not necessarily a great Final Fantasy game, but it's actually a good game. And I think after the dust had settled, it was way more enjoyable. Okay. Once you took it for what it was. At the time, it sucked. I hated it.
Okay, so there you go. That's how this podcast is going to turn out. It's not going to be a good Esoterica podcast.
No.
But it might be a good podcast. At the time of listening to it, you might think it sucks, but it'll grow on you.
Once the dust has settled.
Yeah, it'll grow on you. It's been in development hell for years.
Yeah.
So today's podcast is brought to you. Well, it's not brought to you. We just happen to be drinking Renaissance Brewing Company's Voyager.
It's actually really nice.
Which is a really nice beer. So this is something that we've decided that we want to do a little bit more of, seeing as we're a small independent New Zealand podcast. We kind of want
indie.
to. We're really indie. We've decided that we want to give some shout outs to some New Zealand craft beers and stuff like that we drink. Yeah. So today's is from Renaissance Brewing Company, Voyager, which is nice. I'm enjoying it.
I am too.
Yeah,
it's nice. It's not too nice. A lot of craft beers, they go overboard with how hoppy it is.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's too much, and you end up sort of being overwhelmed with how over the top they get with. But that's a good balance.
I like it.
It's nice.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
So, what's on top? What's on top this week? So, what's been on top this week for you, Anthony?
Nothing really. No, I mean, I probably should have thought about this before we started the podcast. But no, seriously, nothing really. Yeah. I've had a really good but uneventful week, which has been nice. Actually, no, that's a lie.
I know something that's been on
I
top.
know, I know.
You're just lying. I'm just sitting here going, I've queued you up, and now you have. See, this is the unlucky part of number 13. It's all just going to go downhill now because we're just not on the same page anymore.
It has been a very weird week because we had Waitangi Day on Wednesday. And
not where I thought you were going, but that's all right. Yes, cool, carry on.
Well, no, I mean, weird in that there was a public holiday in the middle of the week.
Yes. Yeah. Which has made it feel sort of like 2 weeks. It's really bizarre.
So strange. Yep. And having, going to work on Friday, I mean, like, it's, But Producer Caroline and I went to the Mission concert.
Oh. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
And we saw Phil Collins. It was very cool.
Did you go?
It was actually
When you got
very
there, did you go? He got up. I'm assuming at some point in the night he played
In the Air Tonight.
I'm assuming he played it at some point.
Of course he did. Yeah.
Yeah. So did everybody when he got to the drum solo and just went dun 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 dun? Did half the audience just go, "Cool, thanks, I'm out. I'm done." That's all I came here for.
Well, actually,
I didn't need to see anything else.
So Phil Collins is 70 now. So he's had some problems with his legs.
It made me feel bad now.
I'm going to make you feel bad. Yeah. So he actually spent. This is a testament to how good an entertainer he is. He actually spent the entire concert sitting down. But very, very good entertainer. Like, very funny. He seemed like he genuinely wanted to be there, which is actually setting the bar quite high for the Mission, because quite often artists who come to the Mission, they treat it as like a...
Well, Eric Clapton was a good example, wasn't he? Like, when he was here, he quite obviously did not want to be there.
And he didn't say a single thing to the audience.
Yeah.
And whereas Phil Collins, he was funny, he was charismatic, he sounded really good, all things considering. And his 17-year-old son, was playing the drums. So it was actually a really good night. It was really entertaining. In the Air Tonight was fantastic live, because you get the bass and you get and they had a real big build up, like they had a guitar build up too, which is really cool.
It's a banger of a song.
It is.
I'm not dissing that. It's a banger of a song.
And he played some Genesis as well, which was quite cool.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Genesis, take it or leave it. No,
See, I prefer Genesis. Early Genesis is good.
Yeah.
It's kind of, and I would say better than Phil Collins.
It's kind of like
stuff,
yeah. It's kind of like early Police. Like
yeah, definitely
better than Sting's solo stuff.
Well, actually, that's the other thing. No, but it seems to be the Sting was actually really good at the Mission.
Yeah,
he was really good, but he also had an orchestra with him. It was very cool. The New Zealand Philharmonic Orchestra. No, he didn't.
Auckland
Sorry,
Phil,
no. He said
NZSO.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, and they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny, like going and seeing solo artists who just nail it. I mean, that's I guess why they go solo, because they have the charisma to pull it off. But yeah, no, it was very, very good. The Mission was great.
Yep.
Wet but good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, what's been on top for me this week is Discord. Funnily enough, is what's been on top for me this week. Yeah. So we put it out to you, all you esoterics out there. We put out the idea of a Discord server.
Yes.
Guess that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
A Discord server. And we sort of were like, oh yeah, we'll get it out there. Maybe a few people will pick it up, have a look at it. I'm no expert on Discord at all, and in fact, before this, had never used Discord. I just knew that it was a good way of sort of communities being able to be in contact with content creators. Really good way of like communities being able to be in contact with each other. So people within the community being able to talk to each other. And so I was kind of like, when we talked about the idea of Discord, it was kind of like, oh yeah, we'll stick it out there and see what happens. My God.
Made a huge
what
mistake.
Happened? We made a huge mistake.
The internet's a mistake.
Whoa.
No, we didn't.
It's amazing.
Like, it's actually really cool.
The Discord
really cool.
has just...
It's blown up.
Exploded.
Yeah,
it's insane. Like, and it's been really, really cool. Angie and I were talking about this before, and producer Caroline was talking about the fact that it's been so cool for us to actually be able to interact with a lot of you guys in real time. Yeah. Which is kind of cool, and talk to you all and hear about what you guys are interested in. Hence the gaming open to the show. What you're interested in, what you want to know, all of those sorts of things. So Discord is a really, really good way. If you haven't downloaded the app for Discord, I suggest that you do. It's free. Come and jump onto the Esoterica server. It's awesome. Yeah. Discord is probably the easiest and fastest way for you to get a hold of all of us.
Absolutely.
And you are almost guaranteed to get a response from at least one of us.
Yeah, definitely.
About whatever you want to ask. And there's a whole heap of subsections on there based around the podcast. So based around, what's on top, Uncanny Valley, 30-Second Waffle, all those sorts of things. So if you're wanting to see stuff here on the podcast, or you find interesting articles and things that you'd like us to talk about, or you have questions for us, or you have anything else like that, Discord is a really, really good way of kind of getting those to us. There's also all sorts of other fun things on the air. We have a gaming channel where we talk about all things gaming that we love, a music channel that's been going off a bit recently. I've never felt like such an old man as I do on the music channel.
So out of touch. You're losing your edge.
That's right. Producer Caroline has her pets channel on there, which you guys have all jumped on with wonderful pictures and stuff of all your
and videos,
your doggos and stuff.
Uploaded a video on there. Everyone needs to see it. It's very educational.
Oh, the one of Stella.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
Thank you.
I
put a lot of work into that.
Brought a tear to my eye. I cried.
It's good. It's good to do that sometimes.
Just let it all out.
Emotional outlet.
Or just general chat. So it's actually been insane. Like I no way picked that it was going to go the way it has.
I think
it's been awesome,
and especially for us. I think because what we're used to in terms of any sort of, I guess, anything where you have an audience, we're used to having quite an immediate feedback sort of loop, and with a podcast, of course, we're speaking sort of into the ether. Like we have the ether rather.
Well, you have no idea who's listening.
No, and you don't feel that. You don't sort of feel. You can't feel the room. So like having Discord sort of really helps in regards to just sort of knowing the audience and what they want to listen to, and like James said.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Yeah. And you know, it helps to shape the content that we make around what you guys are looking for.
Which on that note, we're streaming today.
We are. We're streaming today.
We are streaming today.
So our first...
we say today, but by the time this podcast actually goes live, we would have already streamed.
2 days ago.
Yeah, 2 days ago. So you missed out.
Yeah.
Just kidding. You didn't miss out. Jump into YouTube.
The YouTube channel. That's provided we can get all of this to work.
We're fast and loose.
Promising big, but I reckon we'll get there. But it's saying that we thought within our little What's on Top this week that we would actually answer a number of questions, and I think because there's so many questions sort of on here, we'll try and keep it relatively brief. If you want to talk about any more of these questions sort of more in depth, or there are really big questions that you're wanting us to answer, we'll try and dedicate a whole sort of What's on Top to it. But just to kind of get through a few of them, I thought we'd have a look. So this is where I get my phone out. I feel like I'm always on my phone in our podcasts.
Millennials, man.
It's actually, sorry, I just swipe past all the women that want to talk to me to get to your questions.
Can't just lie like that.
Shh. Mayhaps, here's a question from Juice Goblin. Mayhaps, talk about when James was emo, or more generally, when you were younger. So, okay, let's narrow this down a bit, because I did go through, I went through, not an emo phase.
No, it was goth, wasn't it?
It was goth, because I'm too old for the emo movement. It was
gothic new wave.
Gothic new wave. Yeah, I'm too old for the emo movement. The emo movement was a bit after me.
You missed the goth movement, though.
Yes, so I was kind of awkwardly between goth and emo. So no, but I did.
You were 10 years too late.
I did the painting of the fingernails and the hair and the
trench
dressing
coat.
up, the trench coats, and all that sort of stuff. I did that, and
the pouting.
Yeah, I wasn't so good at that. Like
the smouldering looks.
Everybody wants to be dark and mysterious.
I'm so misunderstood.
That's right. You see,
no one understands me.
But you see, I so think. Okay, so for me, I fully reckon it grew out of. So some of you might relate to this. I'm 10 years older than Anthony, so I'm a bit older than Anthony, and I was a teenager of the 90s. So I did the grunge thing. I did the grunge thing. I did that whole
Doc Martens.
Yeah, society has really let us down. Everything's horrible. Wow. So it seemed like a really natural kind of progression as I got a little bit older to head into that sort of slightly goth kind of mentality. That kind of slightly emo, slightly goth kind of thing. not the kind of emo phase that it would become later, which was the whole, fringe in the face, look at me, I'm so. It was
a little bit more whingy, do you reckon?
I reckon it was.
I think emo's more whingy than goth.
Yeah. I
It's
always
more
thought this is. I'm
complaining.
going to get so many. I'm going to get so many
maybe
things
maybe this is a good way of sort of putting it. Emo is more extrovertly whingy, whereas goth is more introvertly.
There you
whingy.
go. I like that. I like
That's
that.
how it is.
So that was probably, looking back, because we all look back at our lives, that was probably my most embarrassing phase. When I look back, and kind of go, oh God, what was I thinking? So how about you, Anthony? So that's my most embarrassing phase. What about you? What was probably your most embarrassing phase growing up?
Probably I didn't really stick to culture so much growing up. However, probably as I got the whole indie thing. But it was more of a mentality than a actual...
Anthony the indie icon. Yeah.
It is embarrassing and cringe looking back. It's this sort of elitism from... which is, when you really strip it down, acting elite because of music you listen to. Congratulations. You listen to these bands. Doesn't make you better than anyone else. And I think I was very snobby in high school about music.
But I think everybody is. So if I came back to the
no, my
thing,
friends weren't.
But if I came,
my friends love top 40. They would.
No, but that's kind of.
They would taunt me about the kind of music they listen.
Yeah, but so if I come back to the goth thing, the reason I get so funny about being asked about being an emo is because I get really elitist about the difference between what I was going through and then what I saw emos go through. 6, 7, 8 years later,
my pain is more relevant than your pain.
Yeah. And I think
it's like losing your Edgewell City sound system.
Yeah. And as you were saying before, with the indie thing, it's that whole kind of my music is more relevant than your music, or my music is better than your music.
Everyone I know is more relevant than everyone you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Next question. Pardon me.
I'm still an indie dickhead though.
You are. Just look at the records on the wall.
Oh, they're not. And no,
some of them are.
Bowie's there. Bob Dylan's there. Kanye West is there. Kanye's up there. Yeezy.
Arcade Fire's up there. We'll come back. We'll come back to those ones. So, how did you guys meet / decide to do this?
We were at a party and...
Our eyes locked across the room. And I knew from that moment.
Yearning.
Ooh.
Just all the...
Valentine's Day coming up, Anthony.
I know. All the fanfic. My youth. I think I actually wrote fanfic for someone at one point.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, please tell me about it.
Nah, I'm not going to go into that. Not going to go into that. Someone asked me to, so I did.
On that note, please do not write fan fiction about Anthony and myself.
No. Why would you even say that? And there's the can of worms. All right. So how did we meet? How did we meet? Oh well, actually,
yeah. You can tell the story. You can tell the story of how we first met.
Okay,
because when we first met, we didn't actually really know. We didn't really talk to each other when we first met.
We met during a show. It was Thoroughly Modern Millie. Why do you laugh?
Would you like to tell them about the character that you played in Thoroughly Modern Millie?
Okay, so in Thoroughly Modern Millie, I played Simeon Obil. So I played a character called Bun Fu with our dear friend Simeon. And
friend of the show. Yeah,
he is a friend of the show, and he's a friend in real life.
Yeah,
and we both played Chinese people. Okay, so musical theatre's got...
It's moved on a wee way.
Yeah, musical theatre's it's lagged behind a little bit when it comes to cultural awareness.
It's an interesting relationship at times with cultural appropriation. It
does. And so I played... so what that meant was that Simeon and I joined the show a bit later, so I think they had trouble casting the role. And then they saw me and thought, oh, he would be the perfect small Chinese man. So their words, not mine. And so,
He's actually got it on his CV now.
it is. It
Plays
is.
the perfect small Chinese man.
Yeah. And the thing with theatre as well is that you tend to play up stereotypes as well, which makes it even worse. But so Simeon and I, we spoke in Mandarin. I hope I've got this the right way around. I think we spoke in Mandarin, but we sung in Cantonese.
Correct.
Yeah.
But then what I love is just to take it to an extra level of like an extra onion level of layering, is that the song that you sang was what? Do you remember? Mammy. The old Al Jolson blackface black and white minstrel show classic. So just an extra layering
Not
of
great.
like, you know,
Yeah.
of interest. So anyway, that's
I still remember all the words in the lyrics. No, I will not be repeating
ripping them out.
No, I won't be, because
Actually,
I don't want to be slammed.
Actually, do you know, funnily enough, is
great.
that is a show that Anthony and I look back on with fondness. That's when we first actually met.
Yeah.
We didn't become terribly friendly in that show, but
No. Well,
while Anthony
we weren't in the same scenes together.
No, while Anthony was doing a Chinese impression, I managed to get to say the worst line I've ever had to say on stage in any show I have ever done.
And please do
And
it perfectly, because I
that
want
line-
this producer Caroline to be a soundbite that we can use in the future.
No, please don't soundbite this. That line, which look, you'll have to be so. I was playing the male love interest, so you'll have to be my female love interest. So come here,
Perfect.
Come here,
Yeah,
come
great.
close, because this is a moment. We're having a moment.
We're having a moment.
This was the line, and lads out there, this is how you pick up a woman. She says something really awful along the lines of, I'm a rough diamond or something like that.
Diamond in the rough. It must be
Diamond in the rough, something like that.
Has to be.
At which point, I, in all seriousness, looking deep into her eyes, say, I can't even say,
I know, we just joking.
funny, I thought I found myself an emerald. And the really wonderful thing I think about this, and here's a wonderful acting
Swoon.
here's a wonderful acting exercise for you all. I'm a general believer that in a lot of shows, and a lot of very famous shows, there are lines that you have, especially if you're playing male romantic lead, there are lines that you have that there's no way you can say them without sounding like a complete dick.
Yeah.
And that's one of them. Funny, I thought I found myself an emerald. Romeo has one, which is she doth teach the torches to burn bright. There's no way you can say that without sounding like a complete plonker. So good acting exercise for those of you that want to be actors out there. Try and think of a situation, or try and think of romancing a lady sitting there and being like, yes. Try and come out with, funny, I thought I found myself an emerald, in any way that doesn't make you sound like a complete plonker. Yeah. So that's when we first met, isn't it?
That's when we first met.
But when did we really strike up our friendship? It was during another show, wasn't it?
Hairspray.
It was Hairspray.
Yeah.
So that's when we really started talking. So that was God, how long ago now?
2013.
So 6 years ago. We've already been friends for 6
Was that
years.
6 years ago?
No, it must be longer than that.
Whoa. No, it was.
Was it 2013?
Yeah, 2013. Mid-2013.
We've only been friends for 6 years. It feels like
Wow,
forever.
it does. But still, though, 6 years. That's actually a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put up with you for 6 years.
I know.
So that's how we met and got to know each other, and then we did a variety of shows there, or a variety of shows together, in a variety of different roles, both on stage and off stage, and we just clicked. We clicked. We just like arguing with each other, really.
I think that was it.
That was it, really.
It was the arguing.
Drinking and arguing.
Drinking and arguing.
Yeah,
That was it.
That's how our
And at the time,
friendship was-
smoking. We used to smoke.
We did.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry. But used to. Keyword. We
Used
don't
to.
anymore. We don't anymore.
No,
so we
correct.
can say that.
Yeah.
And I don't feel bad because I've...
No.
Yeah.
So that's how we met. How did we decide to do a podcast? I think we talked about this before, but let's just give the Pricey sort of version. How did we decide to do a podcast?
was a while ago now,
I
wasn't
know
it?
of one person who's absolutely 100% responsible for us doing a podcast. And that's Producer
Producer
Caroline.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I really think it was because Producer Caroline got sick of listening to us drinking and arguing, and was like, if you're going to do it, why not record it? And then you've got an actual time to do it, so I don't have to listen to it
It's a designated
every day.
period of time.
Yeah, that's right. Like, think of it like a release valve. Yeah, pressure release valve. That's kind of what it is. So I think this was her grand scheme all along. But the reason that we do a podcast is Producer Caroline. 100% Producer Caroline.
Absolutely. We wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
Really. We don't have the...
Well, to be fair, most of the content that we produce is because of Producer Caroline. I mean,
it is.
She's the one that makes sure we sit down and actually do this and, gets us organised.
We don't sort of have the organisation and the ability to do it.
We're terrible procrastinators.
We are so bad at procrastinating.
Yeah. So if you like Esoterica content and if you like what we're doing, Producer Caroline is the one that you need to thank for that one.
Yep, absolutely.
If you dislike it, send her hate mail.
Don't hold back.
Don't just say what you really think. That was worth the look, all in one.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know how our setup works, Producer Caroline's sitting right in front of us, which is why...
on a couch, all comfortable on a couch
That's
while we're on these...
Drinking tea
while we're on... More ways than one, I'm spelling it too.
Okay, so quick fire questions for the rest of
Cool.
so we wrap up the session. So give me a film and a book that influenced you.
Okay, film Lost in Translation, especially during the period I was sort of in my life, it really resonated. Great film. And book, Gravity's Rainbow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Thomas Pynchon. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, two very different periods of my life. Land Before Time. Huge impact on me as a kid.
It was such a good film. Actually, that's a really good...
Land Before Time. And book, Atlas Shrugged. Had a huge impact on me whenever I was younger.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Next question... blah 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 blah. Sorry, I'm just trying to find. We want to know more about you, and you're cool.
Who's sending? Where are these questions coming from?
These are bits and pieces
to Producer Caroline?
Yeah, these were sent to Producer Caroline through the Instagram or through Discord, or actually Discord questions. Here you go. Boom, quickly. Multiplayer games or single player games?
Single player usually, but multiplayer if you're playing with your friends, your close friends. Multiplayer is, or occasionally you will play a game with someone online. I used to have this with Rocket League, and they're just cool people. They're just really nice and supportive. I sound so soft.
You do.
But that's okay, because overbearing masculinity... To know where I'm going with it.
It's brought to you by 13-year-old boys.
Yeah. You know where I'm going with that. I get annoyed very easily. I get very angry very easily. And with online games and with how toxic it can get, it really rolls me out. So single player, but multiplayer with friends.
I'm pretty much the same. Definitely single player. I wouldn't buy a game for the multiplayer aspect.
No way.
If it was there and it happened to be good, and friends of mine were playing, I would potentially be lured into multiplayer gaming. But I'm not a big fan of multiplayer gaming, which is why I'm so happy stuff like God of War, Spider-Man, all that sort of stuff. Oh
goodness, yes, yeah. And I resent what multiplayer gaming has done to big gaming companies, and the fact that it's driven out single player games in favour of how much money gets churned out.
I'm sure in a whole podcast we'll do on loot boxes and MOBA gaming.
Gambling for kids.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Gambling for kids.
PlayStation Network or Xbox Live Gold?
They're both fine now. PSN's great because you get free games every month. I don't know if Xbox does that now. I think maybe they do.
Now, isn't it like Xbox Replay or something like that? They're
doing
something really similar or trying to do something really similar.
I'm not really qualified to answer that because I don't have that much experience with Xbox. I used to have it. I had an Xbox. I still do have an Xbox 360, but I don't. I never really utilised the live features of it. I think it's gone to the point where internet's so good now that the actual service itself of the internet's not so bad.
I have both. I've always had both. I no longer bother to keep up an Xbox Gold membership. I used to do all of my gaming on Xbox, and I used to do all of my gaming on Xbox Live Gold. Always had Gold. The PlayStation Network, especially the PS4, the PlayStation has just become a much easier interface to use and a much nicer interface to use. It's much easier to connect. It's much easier, And I mean, to be fair, look, at the end of the day, what it's really going to come down to is the system that your friends play on, and the majority of my friends play on PS4s. So I generally tend to do that. So producer Caroline has reminded me of another question, which is talk a bit about yourselves, because one question that keeps coming up or comes up in multiple iterations is tell us a bit more about yourselves. We want to know a bit more about
it's very
you.
Broad question.
It's kind of so this sounds like a really weird thing to say.
Come in a job interview.
But give me a 2-minute précis of your life.
Whoa.
Boom. From birth to death.
Oh wow. Okay. So I hate talking about myself. This is the thing. I hate it.
You do.
I don't like it. It makes me feel uncomfortable because I don't know what it is. It feels. So I was a small child, and then I was a not so small child.
I was born,
and then I was born. I really struggle with this. So I've sort of grown up in theatre. My family on my father's side's always been very involved with theatre.
For multiple generations.
Yeah, I'm fourth generation involved in theatre. And the creative aspect of that's always been a big thing for me. But all sort of members of my family have always been quite... when it comes to creative media, they've always been very into that. Like my granddad on my mother's side, for example, introduced me to video games, to PC adventure games and things, and to a lot of films. For example, it always used to be a thing when I'd go over to Nana and Granddad's, would watch a film, and he introduced me to some incredible classics and films throughout the years. So, and I think that the combination of that, the video games and the films that my granddad introduced me to, and on my father's side, my granddad, who was a director and set designer, an incredible artist actually. John, yeah. And my father, who's an incredible set designer as well. So there's sort of a lot of creativity there, and that's what sort of born my love for the creative arts, things like film and theatre and the music a little bit, I guess, with both mum and dad, with what they listen to. But yeah, so I did theatre, played football. I play football. I'm an Everton supporter, and which is why I'm so sad all the time.
If you need to support a real team like me, like Aston Villa.
Aston Villa. Ugh.
Do you know how I
How's
started...
the championship going?
Oh, do you know how I started supporting Aston Villa? It actually had nothing to do, weirdly, with football. The first game I ever owned on a computer was on a BBC Micro. That's how old the computer was. A BBC Micro computer.
Wow.
It was Football Manager. And my favourite team to manage...
This is actually very cool.
...was always Aston Villa. And that's what... Cool. For no other reason am I an Aston Villa supporter. That's it.
No, that's cool,
purely the reason.
I mean, there are worse reasons for supporting a team. I don't know why. I think the reason I started supporting Everton was because Cahill, Cahill played for them, Australian. So it was sort of like the closest to a New Zealand player. Yeah. Also because I've always loved the city of Liverpool. And bizarrely, like through some sort of weird twist of fate. So one of the shows I've directed was Blood Brothers, which is set in Liverpool. And that was that show was originally produced by Bill Kenwright, who was the chairman of Everton and manager as well. So there's a weird sort of connection there with that. And yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to ask you some quick fire questions on your life.
Okay.
Siblings.
I have a younger brother, Sean. Mm-hmm. He's great.
Yeah. Okay. Hobbies.
Film, design, games, football, definitely football.
What do you do for a job?
I'm a graphic designer and packaging designer and printer.
Worst job you've ever had?
Hotel cleaner.
Ooh,
yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 26.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to for 1 year. We moved around a little bit until we settled, but obviously went to Tamatea Primary for a year, Nelson Park Primary for a year, then I went to Onikawa Primary for about 4 years, I guess, and Tamatea Intermediate, then I went to Napier Boys High School.
There you go. Blind or deaf?
Well, blind.
You prefer to be blind than deaf?
No, see, actually, producer Caroline and I have talked about this recently. We really struggled with this. Knowing that I would never hear songs again, and eventually I'd forget what they sounded like. I'd really struggle with that, but not being able to see, because my job, I'm literally a graphic designer. I'm literally, like, my whole life. It depends on me being able to see things with design. So. Deaf.
Oh, see, that's a hard one. Yeah. Excellent. Have you always lived in Napier?
No, I lived in Wellington for about 3 years, 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Cool. That's about it. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head in terms of quickfire questions.
Cool. All right, James, you.
Not much really.
Where were you born?
I was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland. I moved to New Zealand in 1990. Went to Taupo. Grew up there, I suppose. Went to Hilltop Primary, an intermediate, followed by Tauhara College, which is over that way. Went to Wellington for university. So I lived in Wellington for about 4 years. Then moved to Hawke's Bay, where I've been ever since. I have 3 younger brothers who are all stunningly intelligent, wonderful people.
They are.
I am a violinist. That's sort of what I do, music. I teach music at Taradale High School. I teach music and social studies. I'm an Aston Villa supporter. I enjoy gaming. I enjoy music. I enjoy debating. I enjoy, which is probably why we get on so well.
Yeah.
Theatre has become a big part of my life. Unlike Anthony, I didn't grow up in the theatre.
Forget that.
I did my first show whenever I was in intermediate. It was my first show. Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, actually, funny enough. It was my first show. And I loved it. I loved everything about it. And sort of from then on in, I just wanted to be involved. And so I got involved in theatre through the acting. So I started as an actor. And then later on in my theatrical career, was just so interested in other things. So interested in light and set design and directing and sound and all of that sort of stuff. And so I often like to say I don't think there's a job in the theatre yet that I haven't done.
No. Yeah,
at some point.
We're both similar in that regard.
Yeah, and I think that's really important.
Everything.
Again, lots of acting lessons going through here. Again, if you're an actor, you should do every job in the theatre at least once.
Yeah. And especially if you're a director. You
Yeah.
cannot direct until you've done everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you at the very least understand it.
Of what goes on.
Yeah.
So that's kind of me. Like, that's sort of it. Excellent. So, moving on to our Uncanny Valley section of the podcast. So Uncanny Valley, what we're looking for in Uncanny Valley is we're looking for weird news stories, things that are so bizarre that, sort of, they shouldn't be real. Yeah? So again, if you're jumping on the Discord, which I thoroughly encourage you all to do, it's a rollicking great time. Some really good conversations rollicking great time. Some great conversations and stuff going on in there. If you have news articles that you'd like us to talk about and things like that, things that are really weird and bizarre, chuck them on the Uncanny Valley subsection there of our Discord. But we have a couple of interesting little headlines that I'm just going to whip through. So this section's going to be reasonably quick today, because obviously our first section was quite long. So this one's going to be a little bit quick, and then we'll get on to our 30-second waffle, which I know we all enjoy. Okay, so here's a good one to begin with. Thieves steal shark from aquarium by disguising it as a baby. So basically...
Sounds like a SimCity headline.
That's hilarious. So basically... this is in Texas, right? So
I thought you were going to say Florida. I thought, oh, yeah, Florida.
Yeah, Florida.
Yeah.
So this is in Texas. Basically, these people went into an aquarium... in Shark Week, no less, which I think is even funnier, went in and pinched the shark, right, by just lifting it out of the tank, wrapping it in a blanket, and throwing it in a baby stroller and walking out the door with a 1.5 foot long horn shark.
1.5 foot, so what's that? About there?
Yeah.
For those of you listening at home, I'm holding my hands in front of me. And I'm holding them approximately 1.5 feet away from each other.
Yeah. So they whipped it out of this open tank, okay? Whipped it out of this open tank, wrapped it in a blanket, threw it into a stroller, and walked out the door. So here's the funny thing, is they've actually found, I think they found it's 2 men and a lady. So they didn't notice it was gone for about 45 minutes. So, I think they've...
to be fair, it's an aquarium. It could be doing... you just assume it was out in a cave or something.
Yeah, so apparently they can survive outside of water for a few hours.
For a few hours?
Yeah, apparently, so can survive outside of water for a few hours. So they're hoping this thing is still alive. So it could potentially still be alive. But they haven't managed to find these people yet, or this horn shark that these people have just disappeared with. So you so know there's going to be somebody like...
It'll be a mafia boss having it, like, or a James Bond...
James
Bond villain in their swimming pool.
Okay, so you know somebody... That's right, somebody's going to have it in their own aquarium.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only scale that matters, 1 to 10, or 0 to 10 even. 0 to 10, the only scale that matters... how much do you want a shark?
10. 10.
10.
10.
A 10. A shark.
I really want a shark. That'd be so cool. Yeah, I'd love to have a shark. If I had a way of looking after the shark humanely and could give it treats and it could live a happy life, I'd love to have a shark.
There you go.
It'd be very cool. I love sea creatures.
You could do it in your pool at the back there. You fill up the pool and just put the shark in it. Yeah.
It'd be very cool.
You could be your own, my own Bond villain.
Yeah, I could be a Bond villain.
So, this is from the BBC. IKEA has had to apologise after leaving New Zealand off a map in one of their Washington, D.C. branches.
Well, at least they apologise. Most people don't. We're always left off the map.
The only reason they apologised is because the picture was posted, I believe. No. It went on to Reddit because somebody went into their store and saw that New Zealand had been left off the map.
Yeah, because it's a subreddit.
It is.
It's a subreddit, Maps Without New Zealand.
Yes.
Is it Maps Without New Zealand?
Yeah,
Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yeah, because it was all Jacinda Ardern and all that sort of stuff, wasn't it? Like trying to get people to do it. Okay. Yeah. On a scale that matters, 0 to 10.
Well, IKEA are coming to New Zealand, so that's why they're apologising, because it's a bad PR move.
0 to 10. How much do you care about New Zealand being left off a map?
2.
Yeah.
I don't care.
I know.
Like, it's pretty funny. I like it because it's it's funny, and we're used to it. I mean, with all the Hollywood films, it's always in Hollywood films. It's always in those films where there's like a military operation going on, and they're in the big control rooms.
Yeah.
And they have a big map of the world, and they're like, all the major cities have been attacked. Like London has been attacked, and then it shows and then it zooms out and it shows like Sydney, Australia, and New Zealand's not there. And you kind of think, well, at least we're safe.
But I mean, what the hell are they going to do? Attack Auckland? with its like 1 million people.
That's
that
true.
could be like, that's it. I've held the world.
It's not a good allocation of resources for terrorists or for.
No.
I should not have said that.
You should.
I feel like that was a really bad thing to say because it's one of those things that's going to come in. It's going to come and bite me. I feel like
it is.
Comment.
It's going to be one of those soundbite things that whenever if a terrorist attack does actually happen, it's going to be like,
that's what I mean.
Anthony said that it was not a good allocation. No, but I completely agree with you. What like self-respecting like global terrorist is going to be like,
You lost me at self-respecting terrorists.
I'm Irish. We have self-respecting terrorists. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. So, and last but not least, I read another article this week about a man who had to have stitches in his hand after a game of Monopoly went wrong. So had to go to ED, have stitches in his hand and skin sewn back on after a game of Monopoly.
So what did he do?
Went wrong. I can't remember off the top of my head. It didn't really go into too much detail other than to say that, Did
someone get angry?
Spat had broken out over a game of Monopoly, and so which required like the stitching back on of bits and pieces of body parts.
Monopoly is actually a game that one of the rare board games that actually it's so good at its original purpose because it brings out the absolute worst in people.
I fucking hate Monopoly.
It does. I like it.
I don't.
Sometimes, if I'm winning, I like it.
There's a
Monopoly's awful.
I think that anybody in any situation where there's a group of people together and like, let's play a board game. I think anybody who suggests Monopoly should be shot on sight. No trial.
Agreed.
That's it. Just done. Why would you play Monopoly? There are so many.
But do you know why you say that? Do you know why you say that? Because Monopoly was actually originally created to be anti-capitalist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's meant to be anti-capitalist,
absolutely.
So it's meant to actually show how ridiculous it is.
Absolutely, and in the fact that the one bit of the game that
and because you're an anarchist, you think shooting people
that's right.
is the
that's right. So the one bit about the game, the one thing that I've never had that people don't play the rules correctly, is that you're actually supposed to buy everything you land on. You're not supposed to be able to. You can't choose whether or not to buy what you land on. You have to buy it. That's part of the rules.
No, it's a house rule.
No, it's part of the rules. That was the original point of Monopoly, was that you bought everything. You bought everything that you landed on. You didn't actually have the choice of whether you bought it or not. It's become later on that people go, oh no, you don't, or you do the first time round the board, and then you do.
The first time around the board, that's a house rule. Yeah. But they've actually retroactively changed.
But the original rules of the game was you had to buy,
and
everything you landed on.
If you don't, it goes up to auction.
Yeah, you couldn't or you didn't. It went up to auction.
Someone else.
Hence the reason that they were there. So I I hate it. There are so many board games I'd play. Board games, best board game of all time. Go, boom. What's the best board game? Like, if you were to go, that's the board game you should play. What is it?
Lord of the Rings Risk.
Ooh, that's.
I've actually got it.
That's niche.
Lord of the Rings Risk is phenomenal. You need to put aside a bit of time for it. Yeah, but it's so good.
Risk is a pretty good game. I'll give you that. Risk is a pretty good game. I haven't played the Lord of the Rings version, but Risk is a pretty good game.
We need to play it sometime. Yeah. Maybe we live stream. No, it'll be a very long stream. It'll be a 6-hour stream of. Hurry up, James. Pick which armies.
Which army you're going to use? No,
it's very good.
Mine is Balderdash. Have you ever played Balderdash?
Oh, no, I haven't. I know of it.
But... Fantastic game. We actually could live stream that one. Game of Balderdash.
Simeon is actually probably the one we should be asking about this as well. Our friend Simeon, who's actually come up quite a bit on the podcast. But he is a board game connoisseur.
So maybe hit us up in the Discord. Let us know if at some stage you'd like to see a live stream of us playing a board game, and we'll get Sim and
Sim has to be involved.
Cool. So that kind of brings an end to Uncanny Valley. That was our sort of plethora of strange articles from the week. Actually, just before we move on from Uncanny Valley, I just want to come back to the board games thing for one more time.
What
is the worst, like...
Game of life.
board game. Yes, it's a terrible game. Snakes and Ladders. I hate Snakes and Ladders. Oh, what was that other one with the poppy thing? I want to say not Boggle. It's like
something like that, like Boggle or.
It was dumb.
There are people screaming at us right now saying it's this.
It's dumb. Twist is another dumb game.
Twist is stupid.
Yeah.
The Hearts, but that's freaking.
Trying to think of other dumb games. Anyway, no.
Twist is just awkward.
What's the worst board game induced rage you've ever been part of? Have you been a part of a board game induced rage?
I was once playing Monopoly with my brother and friend Matt. And we actually had a court case about something that happened. We actually had a full-on court case. Like legit, this was years ago, but
I'm assuming that this was a mock court, not like you actually went to court.
No, it was mock court. Yeah, we didn't actually go to like the High Court of New Zealand.
I had a free afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, we actually had a full-on court case, which probably took longer than the game itself. Which is, I mean, Monopoly. Capitalism. I don't tend to get wound up.
I don't anymore.
No,
I used to. I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm from a family of four. I'm pretty sure at some stage there were board games turned over and tears and probably over Monopoly. To be fair, I hate Monopoly. If you want to destroy your family, buy Monopoly.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, so that brings an end to our Uncanny Valley section.
I promise I'll come up with some cool graphics at some point as well between these sections. You'll have to imagine them if you're listening. You just have to imagine the graphics.
Yeah. Excellent. So, now time for your favourite bit and my favourite bit. And actually, funnily enough, I've been really, really excited and really happy with how well this section has gone over.
I get a little bit
in the
nervous.
Discord community. I get really nervous. Yeah. So this is 30-second waffle. 30-second waffle. And I love this section, and I'm really looking forward to what you've got for me this week, and I'm hoping that I've got some equally interesting things for you.
There's actually a question I really hope comes up because James has actually mentioned it in this podcast.
See, what I love is and I would like to say that for this section last week, that it was the first time we trialed this section out.
Yeah, first time either.
We legitimately don't know what the questions are in each other's thing. We could not have scripted last week any better. No. When you pulled out the question about Mamma Mia straight after having we could not have scripted that any better. No, so I would like to say that was pure happenstance and chance. Yeah. It was absolutely not scripted at all. So, right, who went first?
I went first last time.
So you want me to go first this time, or do we want to do paper, rock, scissors again? See, and again, paper, rock, scissors. I've had so much hate on Discord for the fact that I say paper, rock, scissors.
Good. Well deserved.
And in fact, Anna messaged me from Auckland being like, it's not paper, rock, scissors. I'm like, it is. It is. It's paper, rock, scissors.
It's not.
Philistines. So paper, rock, scissors, or do we want to go the other
Maybe
way
you go. Maybe you just alternate.
Okay, cool.
I'm scared of losing.
This section actually freaks me out.
Me too. I get really nervous.
I get low-key anxiety from this.
Like,
all right, cool. Bring your pot over here, and let's
mix it around. We'll need a timer.
So producer Caroline is just. I won't read it until I get the flash of the timer up there, because I wouldn't want you to feel that I'd had an unfair advantage.
No, even 5 seconds makes a big difference in this.
It makes a huge difference.
It goes by so quickly.
I'm just so worried that I'm going to pull something out that I'm just going to have no idea about and just not be able to justify at all.
Well, you have. Oh god!
All right.
Okay, it's got to read it.
Why should you have grown out of Atlas Shrugged by the age of 16?
Yes.
Okay.
Boom.
10 seconds.
That was it. Yes.
Why should I have grown out of Atlas Shrugged by the age of 16? Okay, the reason that you should grow out, and I thoroughly recommend that everybody who's young reads Atlas Shrugged and reads into objectivism. It is an interesting and certainly very self-centered method of looking at the world, and to a certain extent can help to change your opinions on structures within society or accepted norms within society. However, I believe that Ayn Rand is very naive when it comes to actual relationships between men and women, whenever it becomes into the reality of putting those things in place. So you should move beyond that as you grow older.
Nice. Nice. It was really good. It was really good.
Yes.
I cannot believe, because we have several questions in there. I cannot believe that was the first one you pulled out after having mentioned that as your book.
About it. There is this weird sense of relief
you can't make this up.
There's this weird sense of relief when you go, I've got through this. I've got through this. I've finished the 30. That 30 seconds goes so quick.
It does, yeah.
It goes real quick.
Because, I mean, I did theatre sports in high school. And I was okay. My friends were better. Finn was really good and Kieran was really good. But that's what this is like. It's pretty scary. Cool.
All right. Okay. I'm actually struggling to remember what questions I've put in here for you, so it'll be interesting to see what you pull out.
Okay. Hold up. America should build the wall, justify. I've got 7 seconds to think about this.
You do.
Okay. America should build the wall because tunnels are really easy to build. And it'll just be funny. Like, I would actually quite like to see the wall... Well, I'd quite like to see the wall go up and it fail. Just because that's the one thing that Trump still goes on about. I'd love it to happen and then just fail monumentally, egg on face. Yeah. And for just this tunnel network. This beautiful tunnel network.
We're going to build the greatest tunnels of all time.
Yeah.
Excellent. There's always that moment of panic, isn't there, when you first read the question, you go, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is... Yeah.
Your questions are better than mine. I'm going to have to come up with some better questions for you.
Pretty good. Yours was
all right. Come up with some better questions for you. All right, here we go.
I can't
Producer Caroline, just before we start this, Producer Caroline standing there with her hands on her hips, and she just looks so annoyed. So Producer Caroline has the time for this. She just looks so irritated. Right, here we go. Justify the holistic achievements of Coldplay.
I'd forgotten about that.
Coldplay. Why are Coldplay amazing? Their achievements. Well, what Coldplay has done that no other band has managed to do is they've managed to create a home and a centre for middle-class white men and women with low levels of anxiety who want to feel that they are needed and important within some kind of vaguely indie music genre. So they're the indie band for people who don't understand music.
It was really good. I'm impressed. It was very good.
I was in there going, I can't think of anything I like about Coldplay.
It was very good. It was very good. All right. Wowza. Okay.
You're up.
Okay.
I've just done something incredibly... Do you know what I've realised? I've just done something incredibly
terrible
in terms of theatre. I've
used
my downstage hand
instead of your upstage. Yeah.
Never do that.
No, it's bad. Shadows and all sorts of things. The Spice Girls did more for music than any other female artist. Justify. Oh boy.
Than any other female artist.
The Spice Girls brought late 90s female-fronted bands to the mainstream in pop. So before them, you had bands like Lush, you've got like Dixie Chicks and stuff, but they never quite entered the pop zeitgeist that the Spice Girls did. They brought female-led bands, strong, empowered females, to the mainstream for the first time. Before then, it was indie.
Boom.
Didn't even need 30 seconds.
Didn't
even need it.
Yeah.
I had like 5 seconds.
You were getting passionate, which I liked. I liked the, like, you know.
Yeah. It's getting real. Roll into it.
There you go. Well, I think vote in Discord on how well you think that we answered the questions this week from for 30 Second Waffle. Please, actually, I'm going to say something here. If you are using the Discord, and you want to suggest questions for us to answer. Obviously, quite a key important part of this is that we actually don't know what the questions are.
Oh,
yeah.
True. Yeah.
So what we'll do is if you go to if you go to the 30-second waffle area of the Discord, Anthony and I will not read that. So only producer Caroline will read the 30-second waffle subsection of our Discord. So if you put it in there and you put in brackets afterwards who you want the question answered by. So if it's a question for me, you put James in brackets. If it's a question for Anthony, you put Ant in brackets. And producer Caroline will pick those up and make sure they get into the little pots of awesome that we will then draw out from. Yeah?
Perfect.
Cool. So, thank you for joining us here on our unlucky 13th podcast.
We should have just skipped it. We should have gone straight to 14 like a hotel.
Just straight, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Just
they don't have a 13th.
And then everybody would be sitting there going, it could have become like this whole thing, like this whole people like trading tapes trying to find like this bootleg 13th like mysterious
mythical
13th podcast that never happened.
The missing episode.
The missing episode.
It could have been quite cool.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about the Discord. Please jump on the Discord. It is the best way for you to be in contact with us. It's the best way for you to do things. But Anthony, where else can people find us?
You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So, this is the part we have to remember the handles.
I remember it if you don't.
Okay, so you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Esoterica Pod. Cast.
And on Twitter at Esoterica Pod.
Nailed it. I nailed it.
You did. That was well done. I'm very proud of you.
I'm a good ambassador for the brand of
You
Esoterica.
are, yeah. So, hopefully... Pardon, producer Caroline has a question.
Well.
Oh yes, find us on Twitch, which is going to be.
How many platforms do we need?
Yeah, where are we on
too
Twitch,
many.
producer Caroline?
No, just don't bloody overcomplicate it. We need one platform.
Facebook, Instagram.
God's sake.
And we are also on Discord and Twitch, and we're about to have a subreddit.
Woohoo! There you go. We're about to have a
How do you
subreddit.
keep
And we're also
up?
coming on Twitch. You can find us absolutely everywhere. So hopefully you joined us for the stream. If you didn't join us for the stream live on Twitch, then find the stream on our channel at YouTube and come and see Anthony and I play Soma.
We're also on Bebo and MySpace.
Yeah.
And MSN Messenger.
Yes, that's right. Ask Jeeves. You'll find us.
And on GeoCities.
Club Penguin.
Club Penguin, yes.
Which died this year. Club Penguin has finally officially died. Okay, thank you very much for joining us, and we shall see you.
We'll see you on the Wii store,
Hopefully.
the Wii U store next week.
See you soon. Bye.
See ya.